certain songs, when you hear them, you just have to move, and they sound even sweeter on Pan. So get ready. Pan on the Boulevard is happening on February 11th in Diego Martin. And this morning, the president of the Nile Hill School of Music Seal Orchestra and the event producer, Lissetti Felix, is joining us this morning, as well as Aquila Pereira, the arranger for the Woodbook Playboys. Gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to the Now Morning Show.
Hi, good morning, Ainka.
I am real happy you're here because when we talk about Pan and we talk about free events, it immediately means people are coming out. But tell me a little bit as to what inspired this one, because this is happening in the middle of the action. The 11th is very, very close to Panorama itself.
Yes.
So why did you decide that Diego Martin needed to have this event?
All right, so we wanted to focus on Diego Martin, seeing that Diego Martin is now a borough, right? We want to make sure that no stone is left unturned. So me being a steel band man, I would have discourse with the other band leaders, and this is actually their dream to have Pan on the road in Diego Martin. You know, it's quite a long time since we had all the bands come out on the road. So what we did this year, we focused on the single pan bands because their panorama is already over.
Right.
So now that the large bands are there, we say, well, let's bring out the single pan band, because we would normally be in fets, gigging fet to fet. So why not have it concentrated in one spot, and no better place than the Boulevard.
Right. Now you're saying on the Boulevard, which means that we're looking at blocking the road and changing traffic a little bit?
Yes.
How will that work?
From Zircon Avenue down to Jasper, which is one block.
Right.
Jasper is actually where the community center is, Central Diego Martin Community Center. So we have that block on the road blocked off on the eastbound lane, heading to the community center, and the bands would be lined off on the road itself. So the steel band action is on the road. We want to create a vibes, a pan line, a big vibes, and everybody just come out, enjoy yourself, right, for the evening, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. The other side of the boulevard is going to be converted into a two-way traffic lane.
Okay, so you're not completely disturbed.
We're not completely disturbing the traffic. And Sunday afternoon, you know, that's the time where you wouldn't really get much inconvenience with that traffic
Sunday evening, you're chilling.
So,
now, Aquila, in terms of the actual performances that we're going to hear as an arranger, one of the things that we have been talking about amongst ourselves is that this year we're hearing a lot more new soca on the Pan. A lot more arrangements are much more familiar to us, the listeners that is. So what can we look forward to performance-wise from the Woodbook Playboys?
Well, I would say we have something special in store. But the competition, the event, is a two-part segment as far as I was informed, where we perform our panorama song.
Right.
And we also have to perform another song, a bomb tune, as they call it.
A bomb tune?
Come on, we come to mash up the place.
All right, well, you know, they pave the road every now and again. So go ahead, mash it up, mash it up. I'm fine for it. Because they rightfully say it's to create a vibe. It is to create a space as well that gives the single pan bands the opportunity to shine, as you see, beyond the gigs themselves and post panorama. But tell me a little bit, Aquila, in terms of the prep. When we think panorama, we think long hours, exhaustive practices. How is the band feeling about coming out to perform again post-panorama?
You wouldn't be wrong to think that, because that's really, it has a lot to go into panorama preparation. But as the competition is halfway done, the event is halfway done, because we play the panorama song, it's just to bring out players to refresh their minds, and then add that extra flair on top of it.
I like that, to refresh their minds. Tell me a little bit about your personal perspective, though, on the selection of songs this time around. And I'm going with both of you, because like I said, we saw some newer songs. We saw some different types of arrangements that reintroduced or revived songs even. So what are you thinking of the selection so far? I'll start with Lissetti.
Well, for me, it is good to see that the new music could be there with the traditional music, the older classics.
Right.
So that when you go to an event, you're not just getting the classics from long ago, but you're also not getting the modern music. You're getting a nice blend. And to me, that's what makes a show.
I like that. I agree with you there in terms of making that blend. Tell me about the dynamics, though, of arranging specifically for Pan and the difficulty. I'm asking these questions simply because I think this was the year for Pan. We had so many events that introduced it into new spaces, and now we have another one that's creating a space in Diego Martin. So when we talk about arranging songs for Pan specifically, What is the go-to? What is your formula? And I'm asking each of you this, so you have some time to give me a Miss Universe answer.
Yeah. Well, with steel pan, I always converse with the heads, the older persons, because they have the experience.
Okay.
And they will always say it's the melody. Right? So you're looking for songs that has that melody in it. And once you have that lots of variation in melody, and of course a lot of melodic content, then it makes a beautiful arrangement on the steel pan. And these young guys like Aquila, they would take something with a beautiful melody and they'll just blow it out of proportion and create a mega hit.
A bomb song, he said.
A bomb song.
I'm going to use that for you.
He's one of the young upcoming arrangers. And what you all placed in the panorama?
8 in finals.
Yeah. So
Congratulations.
the youth are really taking that center stage, and I love to see that, And even the steel band community promoting the youth, not just as the players, but you find lots of arrangers and young managers coming up, youth taking over the industry, and you know that the steel band fraternity is in very much safe hands.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now we're talking numbers. How many bands are we going to be seeing on the 11th?
For now, it's 9.
Ooh.
But every day you find other bands calling, they want to be a part of it. Because the word is spreading, it's going around, not just in the steel band circle, but in Diego Martin.
Right.
We're trying to include bands from the West. So you may get bands from Woodbrook and different areas, but generally to keep that steel band action with the single pan, the pan around the neck, now single pan, we want to keep that alive in Diego Martin. And as you say, create new events so that you find a lot of the youth that may not be in the large bands, they can't get introduced at the single band level. And a lot of children, even last night, I was telling them 3 more youths came into the band with the rehearsals.
Oh, wow.
And it's so glad to see them getting into something positive.
Absolutely.
And that's the key word, positive.
Absolutely.
And the sponsors, we have NGC on board. They are on board with us, helping to make this event a success with some financial assistance, as well as the Ministry of Culture, Tourism, Culture, and the Arts. So we are asking other sponsors to come on board, because what we are doing, we are experiencing it firsthand in the community, just seeing so many youth out doing something positive rather than driving on the streets and seeing them on the block. We are seeing them in the pan yard. Some steel bands have workshops such as welding, such as pan making and different things. So a steel band is a home where the youth in the community can progress and they can be models for our society in Trinidad and Tobago, and we want to foster that interest and get as many youths as possible into steel band as we can.
Aquila, I see you nodding emphatically. I feel like you need to add to that, especially as a youth member, so to speak.
Yeah, I actually came to the realization recently that a lot of my friends aren't just players in the steel pan world. I have friends who are, as he said, managers, young managers, pan tuners, pan makers. I myself am an arranger. I have friends who are drill masters. There's so many opportunities in the world in pan, and I believe that we need to keep it within the culture. And the best way, as he said, is to keep driving it into the youths, give them that pathway.
All right. Well, speaking of pathways, the one that you want to head to on the 11th of February will be Pan on the Boulevard. It's happening in Diego Martin. And of course, for more information, you guys, you can call, listen, he puts in his whole number out there, 343-4509, or Kami at 3427658. For now, we're going to call a break. And when we come back, we're wrapping up with the birthdays. The Now Morning Show continues.